In this video, I'm going to tell you how I got a free house because of coronavirus. That's right, coronavirus. I live in Pennsylvania, and the governor's like, you can't be evicted if you don't pay your rent. So what happened? You don't pay your rent, the landlords don't get any money. Which is horrible, I guess, for the landlords, but that's how I got this house for free. But let me explain myself. It wasn't me who was not paying my rent. It was the former tenants that were not paying their rent. And these people, everybody around here is telling me they were bad people. And I got this house gave to me because the last tenants were not paying their rent. The only way they got evicted was they got arrested, and they're all sitting in jail now. And since they had criminal charges, you're able to evict with criminal charges. Now, they were starting to clean their stuff out of the building before they ended up in Washington County Prison. So the house they did clean a lot of their stuff out, but they left the house full of trash and never came back to clean it up. We took out, I don't know how many different bags of trash out of this house, but I got it for free because my parents actually were the ones that owned it, and they're getting older now. My dad cannot walk well. He has to walk with a walker. He's in his 70s. My mom's in her late 60s, and it's too much work for her to come in here by herself. I was living like over an hour and a half away for them to take care of the house. My father's been saying for years, just get rid of it, sell the house, sell the house. And with coronavirus going right now, so many people are out of work. My mother was figuring it's going to be so hard to sell that they decided just to give me the house. And she didn't trust trying to rent it back out again, because with Governor Tom Wolf saying people cannot be evicted for not paying their rent right now, they were afraid of getting another deadbeat tenant in here, and the homeowner is responsible for the water bill. My mother was stuck with about a $1,400 water bill because the people didn't pay their bill, and she was out about $3,500 worth of rent, and these people will never pay it. Even though she has a judgment against them, they will never pay that amount, which is pretty sad that elderly people got taken advantage of so badly. The good news is the lady actually is in jail, which is, I guess, is the good news. I guess what happened there was, before she went to jail, they were setting off fireworks around July in back, and they got into a fight with one of the neighbors. It was such a bad fight that they are now in jail. They each have a $100,000 bail that they cannot afford to pay. And the reason why my mother didn't do that good of a background check like she normally does when she rents out is this lady wanted to move in right away, and she had cash on the spot to move in right away, which was about November, December of last year. So less than a year, they have had nothing but problems with this lady. And all the neighbors were telling me about how bad she was and how the cops were always being called in. The house across the street, I guess one of them hit the garage door area over there on her wall and damaged it. So that was one of the police reports. And what happened was, the code officer contacted my mother. What are you going to do about these people? They wanted them out of town. Well, they did move, but they didn't move out of town. The house that they rented now is only a few blocks down from here, and I'm pretty sure they're going to screw over the next landlord as well, which is down in Fallowfield Avenue in Charleroi. Now, I looked up this lady's name on the PA docket systems. There are so many cases against her for unpaid rent that goes back for many, many years. There's many people that she's screwed out of many thousands of dollars each. And I don't understand how she can screw that many people over and not pay her rent and not end up in jail from you figure that'd be theft by deception, you know, for how many years she's been doing it and how much she has actually swindled from people. So I don't understand how this lady was able to do all this. Now this is a 2-story house. As you can see, there's like a bedroom over top of this porch area right here. And the house is pretty long back across there. This is actually a 3-bedroom house. And the problem is, I really don't have furniture for inside of it. Which kind of stinks, because I had to go out and buy a mattress and a box spring. I don't have a bed frame for it. Don't have any dresser sets. What happened was, quite a few years ago, my ex and I decided to split up. Well, basically I got screwed over. My ex decided not to pay anything out of the joint account on the mortgage, which was in my name. And I sold basically everything I could sell off, and everything I couldn't sell off I left there in the house and just moved out, because the mortgage was so far behind, and they took off and they decided to move in with somebody else, and shortly after that on Facebook they were with somebody else. So you know that had to be going on before they took off. There's no way that that wasn't happening. But now I'm actually a homeowner. This house, like I said, it's blue, has white shutters. It does need a little bit of work here and there. It's in fairly good shape for how old it is. I had to replace the front window glass in the middle up there. The tenants had it broken out. There's another broken window in the kitchen. It's a dual pane window, and only the inner glass is broken and not the outer glass. So that one I can get away with not replacing right away. But that glass there, I had to replace it right away because I didn't feel like the house was safe, leaving it basically open up to where anybody could just reach that through the glass there and unlock the door. There are so many homes for sale cheap in this area that a lot of times the plumbing is stolen out of them, or the copper wiring is stolen out of them. There's a house right now for sale in this area on, what is it, Facebook Marketplace for $5,000. And you can go to the real estate listings for this town, and you can find all kinds of listings that are cheap for this area, where people just that are so cheap. There's so many cheap houses in this area. But the problem is, this was a still town at one time, or across the river was a still town, and most of those good paying jobs have moved out of the area, which kind of killed the real estate in the area. Because you look right across the street, they have a garage in that house, and that house actually extends out further out back than what you realize. Then that house right there, there's the garage for it, and the house is on the other side of the other street. That house right there has a garage, so it's not that bad of an area, really, but homes are cheap. Which makes it nice for me now, since the noisy neighbors moved out of here, the ones who were in trouble with the police all the time. All the neighbors are thanking me for moving in. They said that this neighborhood is so quiet now, which I guess is a good thing. Now, the reason why my parents, like I said, didn't sell this house is homes in this area sell for so cheap, and with coronavirus going on, they figured it was going to be hard to sell. They didn't trust trying to rent it out again. And if this lady would have been paying her rent and not have screwed over my parents, I wouldn't have received this house yet. I may have received it sometime down in the future, but since my parents got screwed over, I got a free house because of coronavirus. And I know I wouldn't trust renting it to somebody else right now either. If I decided not to live here myself, with coronavirus, they can just not pay you rent. And you can have judgments against them, and they never pay. Now, I'm gonna take the camera across the street. I'm gonna get you guys a picture of the house. And at the end of the video, the piece of paper out of the newspaper, which is public for everybody to see anyway, I may go ahead and take that picture of that and put it at the end of the video so you can actually see what these people did and everything else. of reason why they're in jail. And there it is, the blue house. As you can see, I need to repaint that trim up there in the middle between the roof line and the upper windows. But it's not that bad of a looking house from the outside. Now the sidewalk is something to be could use a redo, but there's no trip hazards right now, so I'm not overly worried about that. Eventually I'd like to replace the sidewalk, but just not right now. But for a free house, I really can't complain. There's no holes in the walls. All the appliances came with it, which is like a side-by-side refrigerator. There's a dishwasher, gas stove with center griddle. So at least, and a washer and dryer, so at least it had nice appliances when I got it for free. And you can see a little blue gate back there, that's for my backyard. House is like kind of built on the hillside here, at the starting of the hillside. Luckily we're not way up the hill, as we're not far from being down on the level streets, which is only one street down and only a little bit of a downgrade going down to it. Now, in my next video about the house, I may give you guys a house tour of what the inside looks like. I'd like to thank you for watching. Remember to click like and subscribe.